Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a Tuesday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It is Tuesday. We'll have Buddy Martin. We'll have Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. He wrote a nice article on Steve Russell, whose last day at WRUF is today. Coach Spurrier and I will have our final Inside the Huddle with him today. Steve's been doing it for a very, very long time, and we wish him a lot of success, a lot of luck, a lot of relaxation in his retirement. He'll still do some stuff here and there, but will no longer be teaching and doing sports scene at the school. Also, Gators play tonight against the North Carolina Tar Heels, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Should be a good matchup. Missed it last night. Falcons and Vikings both win in the National Football League on Monday Night Football. Let's go to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. It's the late night talk show host, Buddy Martin. How you doing, my man?
Good morning there, Shane. I'm doing great this morning. I've decided to have a new attitude about the playoffs. Bring them, let's see them. I'm not going to criticize them anymore. Let's see what happens. We've been wanting them, and we got them now. And by the way, a word about Steve Russell. He's been doing it, as you said, well a long time. One of the things he helped do was help partially discover Laura Rutledge. Laura first worked for him before he worked for Gator Country. He worked for us. He had her as an intern until she found out, unfortunately, her job was at 5 a.m. and not 5 p.m. But got a great job as a teacher, as a broadcaster, all the best. I'm sure we'll see lots more of Steve Russell. We need to keep seeing Steve Russell.
Yeah, he's responsible for all the Jesse Palmers, the Dorings, all those guys went through the journalism school, and they have them scattered all around the country. He's done a
Very
great
proud
job.
of my journalism school, by the way, just so you know, there have been others who've been that school. So
Did you go through that, buddy?
Absolutely.
I did not. That's why Steve's been wonderful with me, because I had no background. I was a business major, and he kind of helped me through all the radio stuff, the podcast stuff, and everything. So a lot to Steve as well.
Did a good job on you, Shane. You're coming around.
Yeah. Actually, going through the journalism school would have been a lot more fun than going through the business school. I can promise you that. I don't know what
Depends on when you went. Many eons ago, I had a professor named Buddy Davis who hated anybody who was going to be a sports writer. There were 5 guys in my big class who wanted to be sports writers. Only one dumb enough to tell the professor. That was me. And I paid for it. He made me eat pound sand, but it's okay. He taught me, and he was a very good professor. And some of the guys turned out all right. Hubert Mizell, George Solomon, etc. All in my class. So a long time ago, back when written words seemed to matter more.
Yeah, Andy says on Facebook Live, Bears are dreaming up ways to lose games. Yeah, I watched some of that, and the few times I watched it, they got on the 2-yard line, brought in the offensive lineman to play fullback. They score, but his dumbass didn't report to the officials. And it's like nobody told him. I don't even know if the coaches that they have on the staff now even knew that he had to report. But that's the Bears beating the Bears.
How come the Bears can't ever get it right? Can't ever get it right.
Yeah, a lot of people on here want to know who's taking over for Steve. That I'm not aware of. I don't know if they'll still have sports scene, quite honestly. I'll find out more today. But all right, buddy. Before we talk football, Gators play tonight, and we'll talk more with Kevin Brockway about this. But they're one of the few teams that are still undefeated in America. We talked with Chris Harry yesterday. Have you had a chance to watch the Gators play basketball?
Oh, yeah. I've watched them pretty well, and I talked about it last time with Kevin and friends on our program after you left and took an early out and went back and got your milk and cookies. We talked a lot about hoops, number 7 ranked Gators. Man, this is a terrific team. We all agreed. They both said this team could win it all. Now, let's not get too out of our zone here, but the fact is they are even scratching the surface now. The talent they got is awesome. And we know all about what they can do at the guard position. But the guy I love is Conrad's just a guy I love watching play. The ferocity which he plays as a shot blocker and even as a scorer. Defense, he plays both ends of the court. He's a 6'11" force and a guy that I think will even look better as we get to the season later on. Of course, they got great guard play as well. So this team is loaded. A lot of people think they can do it all. They're number 7 in today's AP poll, and I'll be watching them tonight as they play against the Tar Heels. You know the record all time against North Carolina?
Doesn't matter, but it's probably not very good.
Well, wait now. Don't say it doesn't matter. History always matters.
This ain't your mama's and daddy's and granddaddy's North Carolina team.
I resent that remark because every time somebody says it don't matter, it was yesterday. It matters. It's called history. Look it up. They have books. The point is, they played them 6 times. And they beat them only twice. I know it won't factor in tonight's game, but just a little historical fact for those journalists who like to keep up with what's going on.
There you go. Zach on here wants to know if I have any news on Jonte Cook, the wide receiver from Texas. And Christopher responded to him, says, Shane does not follow recruiting. I do not. I couldn't tell you anything about who's on campus, who we're signing, who we're trying to sign, who we're not. We haven't signed anybody other than a kicker or a punter that I'm aware of. So,
yeah. One things that we should point out, though, is that there have been changes. Actually, we know about the Pyburn thing. Some people say it's nothing. I think you're one of those who says, oh, well, let him go. Some people are upset about it. Some people think he was the kind of player that could build a program around. No matter, he's gone, and to LSU of all places, one of Florida's biggest rivals. I understand the reason. I understand the money. I understand what you have to do. But I still say it sucks because he's a player I thought Florida could really use on their defense as they transition. And another shout out, by the way. Let me get this in. We kind of overlooked this last night. Didn't talk about it. First string All-American AP, Ocala's own center, Jake Slaughter. Congratulations, Jake. That's big time. That's big time, man. Really.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good stuff for him. And he decided to not go into the draft. He will be back next year.
Yeah.
Which
probably
a good decision on his part.
Maybe it's really a good decision for Florida because this guy is. I mean, the last time there was a center like this guy's name was Bill Carr, I think, all these years ago, and who was back at fabulous All-American. He gets a brick in out front, so good for him. He's done well. He's graded among the highest centers in college football. So shout out to Jay.
Yeah. Text on the Titan MR text line from Jonathan. He says, buddy, do you think Jack Pyburn got the amount of money that he was asking for from the Gators?
I had no idea. And
I would say no. And if they did, good for Jack. Dumb by LSU. I do not think Jack plays on third downs for LSU. So we'll see. But good for him. And like I said, you have an amount of money slotted for certain positions, and you cannot waver unless you're an All-American or a game changer, right?
I understand that. Yes.
I think that's what happened.
Here's the difference, Shane, and people coming and going and people getting picked up, etc. When a guy leaves your team and goes to one of your rivals, and LSU, make no mistake, might have been an old Western Division rival, but they are Florida's rival right now. It hurts. It just so like it hurts. And ETN went to Georgia. When a good player on your team leaves and goes to the other guy, it's a minus plus. By that I mean it's a minus for Florida, the plus for the opponent. So that one stings. But as you point out, it's going to happen, and money is the reason. And I can't blame him for it. Nor do I. I noticed Billy didn't turn on him in the press conference last Thursday. Said he loved him like a son. So it's unfortunate, but it just hurts to see one of your own go over there for them.
Iceman says Shane loved Pyburn when he was here, but now he's gone. He's not all that. I loved him because he played hard. I never once said he was a tremendous pass rusher or a tremendous defensive end or outside linebacker. Not one time did I say that, Iceman. Go back and listen. He played what I've said multiple times on here, what offensive linemen do not like to play against, guys that play hard. Okay. That's what I've said. And that's what he does. He is extremely limited at what he can do. He's a good player, but I would not have paid him anything close to that if I was the general manager in charge. That simple. All right. So, buddy, we have another text here on the Titan and Mark text line from Jim. He says, buddy, what staff changes do you think will take place after the bowl game?
That's a good question. We asked that question last night of two of the beat reporters, and you keep hearing things. I have heard, and these are just rumors. I don't know. I hate to even throw them out there, but I hear him talking about Rob Sale. I was finding it hard to think that Rob Sale, although he's making so much money, that's one of the problems apparently, making $750,000 or whatever, and that his position, he's been so key to that offense because they are a running team. Let's be clear about that. They are a running team first, and Rob Sale's job is to make those offensive linemen better. I can't watch film and tell you if he was great or not, but they got better. That's all I know, and so I don't know how to make that change. You hate to make a change in the offensive line at this point when you have now all those returning starters, including Davian George, who was gone to Portland for 5 minutes and came back. So whether you like him, whether you don't like him, and there's some people who say let him go. The fact is he's a starter and he played a lot of ball, and you want to keep your experienced players there. So the other change I hear, and it's based solely because he was on campus, and people just said, well, he left under a bad situation. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't think that he did. But Charlie Strong showed up at practice, at least to the facilities, had his picture made. And if they did pull the plug on the defensive coordinator, Roberts, and went to the direction, how would Charlie Strong be? It'd be great. They could get him, or they could get him as perhaps a consultant, one of those analysts, whatever. So there are changes in the wind. I don't really have a feeling Billy's making wholesale changes. Shane, do you?
No, but I've heard that there will be staff changes, mostly on defense, from what I've been told. So we shall see. Powerful blue agave, huh?
Already have been.
Yeah, but I think there's going to be more. Powerful blue agave tequila, handcrafted in Jalisco, always pure, never simple. Los Landeros tequila. Go beyond. Go get you some Los Landeros tequila tonight, buddy. Hey, Dan's talking about the payroll for coaching staffs. Where would you, buddy? Do you know this? Where the Gators are rated in the SEC for coaches' pay for our staff?
I read it in Francis' column day before yesterday, and I can't remember, but I want to say it's right midway. I think I'm not.
We're like 11th out of 16 teams.
Well, okay, 11
Yeah.
out of 16. Yeah, okay.
That's considering your 10 coaches.
Right.
Not all the analysts and all that stuff, but other schools have analysts too. But I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think that's too low, Shane?
Well, if everybody sits here and talks about we're the Florida Gators, why are we paying our coaches? We're the 11th rated or whatever. We're ranked 11th.
Yeah.
In amount of money that our coaches get paid. So
what do you think they should be ranked?
Well, I mean, if you want to get good coaches and be a top-notch program, I mean, wouldn't you want? I don't even know the top. I would assume Georgia's number 1 and Alabama's number 2.
Well, we can get that list up and look at it.
Yeah, I don't have the list in front of me. I remember somebody asking me about that the other day.
I guess it matters, yeah. But by the way, they don't pay state income tax either. So,
yeah, Barone on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plum says, "Why is Ron Roberts leaving? Armstrong, no big deal, but Roberts finally got his D playing. I don't know if he's leaving or not.
I don't either,
but we shall see. We shall see."
Be all rumor radio because we don't have any way of checking it out.
Yeah, and I'm not interested in the breaking news or any of that kind of stuff.
Well, Shane, Shane, your listeners are interested, okay?
Yeah, but they're not going to get it from me. I can
give it up, man. You're in the media. You're a media guy. You can't have.
They'll never get it from me.
But you're a media guy. You just said you learned from Steve Russell in journalism. And then you say, well, I don't want to tell you. I don't want to get involved.
Well, Steve didn't tell me to go break news.
Well,
I'm
hey,
just
it's part of your job is to give it up. Tell
no,
people what you know. They want to know. Come
not in
on,
my
Florida.
job.
Tell it. His responsibility is he's
I'm
our
just
guy.
a retired
Let
athlete
us know what's
doing a
going on here.
podcast.
You can't keep it all to yourself, Shane.
Um, what is this right here? This says, oh, I got it right here. This is from Robert in Fort Myers on the Titan text line. It says Mullins getting double what UNLV paid Barry Odom last year. Did you know
He's worth,
that?
yeah, he's worth it. He's
Well,
worth
Barry
it.
Odom took his team to the championship
Okay,
game
well,
in
he's
two
very
years.
obviously a good coach. He's no Dan Mullen. I mean, Mullen was at one time one of the true offensive geniuses in the league. At one point, if you remember, yeah, he didn't become a bad coach overnight. He went through a bad stretch, and it cost him his job. But I'm still not sure it's the right job for Dan. I think he might be there 2 years and then leave. I don't know, but he's talking like he's happy. Of course, he wanted to coach, as you said last night. Coaches want to coach, and always say the same thing. Writers want to write, and coaches want to coach, and so this is what it is. And good for him. Good luck and all of that. It doesn't seem quite to be a fit. Am I missing something? It is Las Vegas. You have the bright lights, and so recruiting is certainly a big thing now for coaches and players. Maybe that will help Dan. I wish you the best. He brought Florida some great moments, especially under Urban, and he did have that one good year at Florida. So all the best to him in Vegas. I just don't think Vegas is a great stop, in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of people here are saying Billy Gonzalez is going to go out there with him. I don't know. This text says, did Buddy just say that Pyburn was the kind of player that you can build a team around? Not
Well,
the Pyburn I've been
emphasis.
watching. Hard
Em-
player, but
well,
not elite.
can I explain? Team concept is what I mean. I don't mean you build your whole team around him, but you want a team first player. He felt like he was that guy. I
Yeah.
didn't say it that way. If I did, I mislead you. I apologize. I didn't mean you build your program around it, but a team concept is important. And I think he was a team player, which is one of the reasons that upset a lot of people. They felt like he was a Gator through and through, would stay right there, and he didn't. So consequently, they feel a little betrayed. But I get it. I get it. I might don't put words in my mouth or meanings in my mouth. I didn't mean. I didn't mean they built your team right. He's a nice player. He'd have been helpful to Florida this year, but he's gone. There you go.
Yes, he is. All right, buddy. We got the Gators against Tulane Friday, and
Yeah.
then Friday night we start the playoffs.
Yeah.
Um, First, I mean, obviously, we all think Florida should beat Tulane. Tulane's got a lot of issues on their program without their quarterback.
Mhm.
What are you going to look at? Are you going to the game or are you just going to watch it on TV?
I think I'm going to watch it here. I originally applied for a credential, but other things are pulling at me, and I've got five guys who are going, so I'll be watching it here. And one of the reasons I want to be here for the playoffs, other games, and of course the Friday night game is a big one. So, are you going? You're going to be calling it. Of course, you're going.
Yeah, I have to go. Um, I was just laughing at Tony. Tony says on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law, Shane needs to show up at the pressers in a media hat with a typewriter.
I like that.
What's a
That's
media hat?
I don't know.
Media hat's like one of those like Panama Jack. I don't know what they're called. Panama
How
Jack
about
hat.
this one here? Where you know where I got this one from, Shane?
You got it from me.
You do. You got it. I'll give you a Gator bait hat to wear. Yeah, I think
Their QB's not playing K Brown. Their QB's in the portal.
right. There, I think the first two. It's the second one. Well, is it? Let
Well,
me ask.
the kid that's playing is either their second or third string quarterback, but he's
Yeah.
in the portal as well.
Well, let me ask you a question. You're the journalist there, huh? Steve Russell's
Yeah.
talking well. Look it up, find out. You have context. I was told, I can't prove this, you could be in the portal and still play.
Yeah, you can. Emory Jones did it in this bowl
Okay.
game, but I think
Well,
that's stupid.
well, you can do it though, right?
No, yes, yeah, it's perfectly legal. But my
Yeah.
point is, and again, Tulane probably has nobody else that they can play at the quarterback position. You have to snap it to the tailback and just run the ball.
Yeah.
But I just think it's silly that you've already said, "Hey, coach, I'm leaving your school," and then the coach plays you. I think that's silly.
Well, I did too, but if it's all you got, what are you going to do? Would you play him, Shane?
No, I'd freaking just snap it to my tailback.
Really?
I
Really?
would,
No kidding.
or I'd play a walk on.
Man, I don't know about that. Tulane,
What does
remember,
it matter?
been a long time since Tulane's had this kind of glory, okay?
No, they won the Cotton Bowl 2 years ago.
I'm talking about, well, okay, all right. They were really, really good this year. They were going good, really
Yeah, but
good.
they beat USC. They were better 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
their program is back. And I
Yeah.
say that because my wife's uh, late husband was a player there in our family, and she's rooting for Tulane, understandably. She's an old anyway. But Tulane has spent a long time between drinks of water. Shane, I remember Bobby Duhan and Tulane and being in the SEC. So I remember they had some decent teams. They were always under Vanderbilt. But people in Tulane, they got a lot of money, by the way. Tulane's got a lot of money. I think it's really good for that program. I hate that this is going to cost them. Unfortunately, their quarterback, I'd like to see Florida play at even strength. I look for DJ to have a coming out party. I'd like for Jaden Ball to play well. I want to see if the defense can tee it up and play as well as they have been playing, which is one thing that's concerning me. If they start messing with the defense, it was just going good. So I'm looking forward to the Friday night game, and I'm looking forward to the weekends of playoff games.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready for them. I think they're going to be some entertaining playoff games. I think Tennessee's going to beat Ohio State for sure, is my guess. Mark's question or comment on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. Shane saw where Billy G's son left Kerwin. I think he had a freshman QB come on late who could sling it. Yeah. He got hurt, and then the backup came in and became the freshman of the year in the league and set records for 4 or 5 games. So it was kind of an interesting conversation they had with on their exit meeting. So,
Hey, Shane, can I ask you about some gossip? Would you tell me about something that has been around for a long time? If you've ever heard this story,
yeah,
if it's true or not. Did you ever hear that Percy Harvin punched Billy Gonzalez?
yeah, I heard that multiple times.
Okay, I have too. I just wonder if it was just me, because I know things went sideways and people got mad at Urban because he wouldn't step in the deal, and then Billy left. Billy is a hell of a coach. One of the things he does, among other things, is he teaches receivers to block and demands that they block. He run precise routes. I would sure hate to see Billy leave this program because he's developed. Speaking of which, Creed Whittemore, the guy that I wanted Florida to have because he was Mr. Football. I love the Whittemore family. I was wishing he's gone now. Guess where he went?
He's a Utah Ute.
Utah State or Utah?
Utah, University of Utah.
Okay, I thought he was
The
at
Utes,
Utah State.
the team that we played the last couple of years.
No, I know who it is, but I wasn't sure. Some reason I thought
If he went, there's no way he would go to Utah State. They stink. They're
Well, that's
terrible.
why I was wondering. I couldn't figure why he'd go there. Yeah, well, that's good. I feel better knowing he went to Utah. It's a good program.
Derek has a question for you, buddy, on Facebook Live. Any news on the Tide Golden investigation? I assume no news is good news.
We talked about it last night with two guys who covered the team a lot, the friends, and you got to get. You're going to have your guest on here in a minute. He'll talk about it as well. Kevin knows a lot about it. One thing is I'm a little bit marveled at is the fact that they'd be able to tamp it down and not have a lot of conversation. There's discussion in the press corps about it. Somebody said they talked to an NBA coach or NBA scout who said, if Billy's guilty, he's surely not acting like it. I don't want to get into all that. The fact is, it is certainly a factor, and it will surface at some point during the run because this team looks good enough to be Elite Eight, Final Four kind of team. And Todd's going to be the national media is going to catch up with it. And when they do, they'll air it out again. It'll happen. No news at this point in time. There's no way to know anything about it. It's all private litigation. And I doubt we'll ever really know the whole story, nor do I necessarily want to. But it's certainly not a good timing to have this terrific basketball team. They are really, really good, I think, Shane. And I think they're better than number 7. And to have this looming over their head. But
I don't think it's over anybody's head. I
Well,
don't think anybody's worried about it.
Well, Shane, don't
Unless if we were losing, I think people would be more worried about
It's
it.
a serious allegation, Shane. It's not
I
something
understand that.
you can't wave your wand, make it go away. It's there. It's a big deal. Could cost Florida's basketball coach. So it's not just nothing. People are talking about it, and they are. But the fact is, they've handled it quite well. Basketball team, I think, might be able to play through it. Maybe. I'm sure hoping they are because this is an opportunity you don't get very often to have a team competitive like that to be in the hunt.
Text here on the Titan More text line. from Joe. He says, everybody's sitting here worried about Jack Pyburn leaving, ETN leaving. We did not miss ETN at all last year, and people need to remember we got transfers from other schools that helped us win games, like our wide receivers. Agree.
Okay.
This text says Gator season ticket holders ticket requests for bowl game exceeded initial allocation from bowl game, but were able to be filled. Should be a good crowd in Tampa.
Have you heard anything about that? Because I have a friend of mine who wants to buy tickets,
I,
take
I
his
would,
daughter to that game,
I'm
and I
sure you
haven't
can
heard.
find them pretty cheap
No, I
on
think would you be available? I don't think it's going to be any. Look, even the conference championship attendance was low. Did you see how the prices the tickets were selling for, and the comp, even the
Yeah,
second.
I actually screenshot that. I'm glad you brought that up, buddy. So in the playoff games this weekend, the cheapest price to get in the ballpark for Indiana Notre Dame is $416. It's $57 for SMU and Penn State,
Yeah.
108 for Clemson, Texas, and 142 for Tennessee, Ohio State.
Well, I'd make a case for this being one of the biggest games ever played in Indiana.
Oh, yeah,
Indiana.
there's no question. I'm surprised that Ohio State fans, I think they've given up. I think they don't think they can beat Tennessee. I really don't.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, why is the get-in price $142 for that game? It should be way more than that,
You're right.
in
It
my
should be.
opinion.
It should be, and they're a good team, and I guess it's
Either they just think they're going to walk through Tennessee, or they either think Tennessee's going to roll them at home and they don't want to be there and they're ready to get rid of Ryan Day. But
They are ready to get rid of Ryan Day.
he's going to be back next year.
Well, he is, but he can't. He is, and he's beaten. He's been beaten 4 years in a row by the number one rival. That would have something to do with it. I think he's a good player. I don't know if he's a good coach. I don't know if he's ever the coach that some people thought he was. One of the all-time greats, all that sort of thing. But yeah, it's what happens. It is unusual, though. You're right. You think Ohio State represent on this one, and if they beat Tennessee, maybe they will. But I don't know about Tennessee's quarterback. I'm not willing to say he's over the hump yet.
Oh, well, that's the guy that's holding that team back, in my opinion. This text says Mullen sees that all he has to do is win the Mountain West Conference and beat Boise State, and they are in the playoffs. Easy path to the playoffs, particularly when it's expanded even farther.
Good point. Who wrote that?
I've already deleted it.
Yeah,
somebody on the Titan MR text line.
Got some smart people on Titan MR text line.
I did see that Dan got I saw it yesterday on Twitter. He got a big time running back transferred to him from Utah, I believe.
Okay.
So we'll see. All right, buddy, who you got on your program tonight?
Well, I'm going to be hosting. I'm back hosting tonight on the program. I'm glad to say David Whitley's back. David Whitley. We haven't had him on for a while. He's a terrific writer and a knowledgeable Gator fan. He'll be there, and Rob Brown will have on. We'll also have on Carlton Reese, a great writer from Ocala, and he'll be joining us. We'll be talking. What else? Hoop. We're a basketball school. The game will be over before 9 Eastern, and we'll be on the air talking about that. I'm joining us on the Buddy Martin Show at 9 p.m. Eastern, YouTube.
Wolf Gator on YouTube, brought to you by Claude Plum, says plenty of bowl game tickets are available on the direct site and secondary markets, buddy. So let your people know that.
Good. Thank you very much. I'll do that tonight.
Tony says our best wide receivers are good when they get here via the transfer portal. Yeah, we've had some
I don't think they have terrible wide receivers. I think they got some good ones. They lost two of the most productive ones, and you've been saying all along they got to get to the portal and get two more guys like that.
I think what he's saying is that they're already developed when they get here and established players. So,
well, that may be true, but I think Billy Gonzalez does an awful lot for him. You look at who he's put in the big leagues, and he's had a lot of them. Billy's a heck of a coach, and I sure hope they hold on to it.
All right, buddy. We'll have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you, Shane. I'll be listening, watching to Kevin. He's a good one.
Yep. That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout, come back. Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun will join us on the Titan MR Hotline. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Crime Prevention Security System, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Bishop's Pitmaster Barbecue, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Cogent Bank, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wild, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Unleash the Inferno.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We're waiting. Kevin says he's having some troubles with the link. I'm going to send him a different link real quick. Bear with me while I do that. And where is it? Right here. All right, hang on. Okay, we're back. While we're waiting on him, I just sent him a different link. This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. 2022, the Minnesota Vikings are down 33-0 at halftime to the Indianapolis Colts. They win the game 39-36 in overtime. It's the biggest comeback in NFL history. That's This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. We'll get to a couple other texts here on the Titan MR text line. This is from George. He says, Shane, if you were Coach Napier, what would you be looking for in the portal? Well, I'd look for the best available who can help my team regardless of what position. But from an offensive standpoint, I think they need some wideouts. All right, let's go to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, and we're joined by Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. Good morning, Kevin. Can you hear me? I think you're muted. Kevin, you there, my man?
Can you guys hear me now?
We got you, my friend.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
We got you. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Appreciate your time.
No worries.
Let's do this first before we talk hoops. Obviously, you wrote a piece, I think it's in today's paper, or you can look at it online on Steve Russell. Today's his last day at WRUF. Just talk about your relationship with Steve and what you wrote in this article.
Yeah, well, I first met Steve 20 years ago when I first started in 2003, or actually 21 years ago. A great guy, someone that I've had a lot of respect for. And Shane, I listen to you guys on the radio quite a bit during middays. I mean, even sometimes, obviously generate ideas with what the fans are saying. And I've always referred to him as kind of the voice of reason of the Gator fan base, and it's sometimes entertaining hearing him go back and forth with some of the callers, for sure. But I think Steve's, he's an institution in this town, and I thought it was definitely worthy of a story. And also his impact as a journalism professor, too. I mean, you take a look at Laura Rutledge, Erin Andrews, Christina Pink, all, he taught all of them, mentored all of them, helped them get their start in the business. He's really had a large impact on the University of Florida and journalism at large.
Yeah, he really has. No doubt about it. All right, we got a text here for you. Obviously, let's talk hoops. Gators play North Carolina tonight. Daryl's question for you on the Titan More text line says, Shane, could you ask Kevin, who do we need to watch out for on North Carolina? What kind of offense do they run? RJ Davis is still there, right?
Yeah, RJ Davis is the guy. I mean, he is really, guy that can create his own offense, someone that, obviously, has the ability to score in a variety of ways. He hasn't shot the ball particularly well this year, though. He's only at 25% from three, 35% from the field. But he's still a guy that's dangerous. And I think in general, this is going to be a really nice test for Florida's defense, which, if you look at it, Shane, since that Florida State game, November 15th, I think they've held 6 straight opponents under 70 points. So they are really buying in on the defensive end, did a really nice job converting defense to offense in that Arizona State game. So, but it's going to be tough. I mean, North Carolina is averaging about 80 a game. They've been up and down, but they can definitely score. Their problems are more on the defensive end.
Yeah, it's going to be a good matchup. Would you say this is the best team that we faced so far this year?
I don't know at this point. I mean, you could make that. I thought Arizona State was going to be pretty good. They were 8-1, but it's definitely up there. I mean, it's up there with, obviously Arizona State. I mean, I thought Florida State actually played Florida really well. I mean, kind of took them in the wire. It was a 3 or 4 point game with a few minutes left. But I think what this will present, Shane, is another road-like atmosphere because you're going to Charlotte. I mean, you know how crazy those Tar Heel fans are. It's a Blue Blood program. So I'll be curious to see if they face real adversity. North Carolina goes on a run. Maybe they don't start out shooting the ball well in that building. Like, how do they respond? I'll be curious to see because so far it's been pretty smooth sailing. I mean, you could go back to the USF opener and they didn't have a great first half there and they kind of regrouped. But since then, and maybe near the end of that Florida State game, but it's been pretty smooth sailing since then for Florida. I mean, they've, taken control of games. They've managed to, I think the big thing with Florida is their depth has really worn on teams. The fact that, you bring in a guy like Sam Alexis, you bring in a guy like Denzel Aberdeen, you bring in a guy like Thomas Houken, there's really no drop-off. So you've got this 8-man rotation now where you've got all 8 guys really clicking, and that's wearing on a lot of teams.
Yeah, they're deep for sure. All right, before we continue, let's go ahead and address, we got a bunch of people asking about the Todd Golden investigation. What can you tell us? Is it almost completed? What's going on, Kevin?
We heard rumblings it was almost completed, but nothing has been, certainly decided of yet. And as you know, it's usually a 75 to 90-day process. So you would think that this is the month that things would be wrapped up. But, the latest I'm hearing is it's not wrapped up yet. And I think until it is, it's kind of hard to reserve judgment on the situation. But you would think that an answer would be coming soon.
You're a hoops junkie, and you've watched the Gators play a lot of basketball. Where would you put Walter Clayton Jr. among the elite players to ever wear the orange and blue?
Yeah, he's definitely up there. He reminds me a lot of Anthony Roberson, maybe a little better shot selection even than Roberson. But, Walter's a little bit of a volume shooter like Anthony was, but he can really fill it up. And he's got that point guard. He's got, I think he's proven this year that he can handle the point guard position. It hasn't been a disaster in terms of turning over. He's not going to be Zion Pullen, but at the same time, he's a guy that I think can run an offense and can handle an offense. And having that scoring point guard is such a weapon. And, you'll see that on the other side too with RJ Davis, a guy that can kind of create his own offense when, things get a little bogged down a little bit. I think this team is in general, this Florida team is unselfish, but when you need a guy to get a bucket in a big spot, I think Walter certainly has shown that ability. He showed that ability last year and bringing Florida back in the Colorado game. He's a guy that can create his own offense, and that's a big time weapon to have at the point guard spot.
Florida Cracker's the brand for original Floridians, great food and Southern hospitality in the center of the universe. Brooksville, Florida, FloridaCracker.com. If you're heading south to Tampa for the game, stop by and grab you a bite to eat at Florida Cracker. Good place for sure. All right, Kevin. It's funny. We sit on this program every day, and people, obviously, we talk about the transfer portal in all sports, right? And it depends on what school you root for. You're always complaining about guys that leave your program, but you're always happy for the ones that come in. I was just thinking about this. In the 8-man rotation that we have right now, only 3 of those or only 2 of those are actual signed from high school for the Gators. Wouldn't it be Condon and Houck? Everybody else is a transfer?
Yes. Everyone else is a transfer. So, that's I think that tells you where we are today in basketball, and I think it tells you a lot about Todd Golden and his staff and their ability to evaluate too, right? In terms of the guys that they have and how they've managed to fit in too, chemistry wise, And we haven't even, I don't think we've seen the best from Ruben Chinyelu yet. I think he's going to continue to develop and get better. But he is certainly a guy that impacts the game on the defensive end for sure. So I think they've really done a good job just kind of evaluating, mixing and matching, finding the chemistry. But I think Todd wants to go a little more homegrown. And, I think, this kid, Isaiah Brown, this freshman, I think, in a normal situation, we'll probably be getting a little more run in terms of being in the rotation. They've got a kid coming from Fort Lauderdale, Alex Lloyd, who they're very high on. CJ Ingram, Cornelius' son, hasn't signed yet, but he's playing at Montverde. He'll probably sign in the spring. And he's going to be another high school kid comes in. So I think you're going to see more of a blend as this goes on for Florida basketball in terms of, the high school and kind of sprinkling in with the portal. And I think it's good for the sport. I think, Alex Condon, Thomas Houck coming back, you're starting to see guys that, the fans can identify a little bit, guys that have been multiple, Will Richard is transferred, but he's been here 3 years. Walter Clayton's been here 2 years. So you're developing a nucleus a little bit, and that's good for continuity too. Because, basketball's a team game, it's a continuity game. And I think the longer you play together and the better that nucleus is, you're going to see better results on the court as well.
Yeah. Denzel Aberdeen isn't a transfer. Yeah. I forgot about him. So he would be out of high school. Who of the newcomers, who has surprised you the most or who has impressed you the most?
Yeah, I really, I like Alexis a lot. And you heard some rumblings that maybe, the jump from Chattanooga was going to be a little big for him. But he has come in and he has played tough. I think he understands his role really well. And he's a guy that, I don't like him shooting 3-pointers, but everything else he does, I really like in terms of his toughness. He's got a little bit of a low post game to him. He's got some good post moves. He can score down there a little bit. I mean, he rebounds, he affects shots at the rim. He's a good glue guy, and he does a lot of things well. And, maybe he was a guy that I wasn't initially expecting to be that kind of guy that could come in and accept the role the way he has. But they've got a really nice 4-post rotation, with him, Chinyelu, and obviously Houck and Condon. You've got 4 guys there. And that's the key, knock on wood, you keep them healthy. Like I said, I think I've said this before, Shane, but I really thought that Colorado game, losing hand-logged at the very end and only having 3 post guys and then Samuel getting foul trouble in that game really compromised them, especially defensively at the rim. And that was a big reason why, Colorado ran up 102 on them.
You think they win tonight?
I think they do. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think this is going to be North Carolina's offense. I'll preface this. I'll say this is probably the best offensive team that Florida has faced this year for sure. And I think that's going to be something that certainly that could present a little bit of a challenge for Florida is North Carolina's quickness and their savvy and their ability to kind of move the ball and shoot, and it's going to be a home crowd environment for them. But I think, Florida's going to find a way. I predicted, I think it's 84-78. So I think it's going to be a high scoring game, and I think Florida is going to, find a way to pull it out. And I'd expect that, again, the guards will carry the day. The other thing too, they play 4 out, 1 in. So I think this could be a game on the boards too, and Todd loves playing 3-2. And I think this could be a game where second chance points could really come into play, and Florida could have because they're going to have a decided size advantage on the court throughout the game.
Yeah, I think Carolina's played a tougher schedule than we have to this point. All their losses are against some pretty good teams, so should be a good matchup for sure. Florida victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators, joined today to help make Florida victorious. Got Kevin Brockway for a few more minutes. Kevin, let's switch to Gator football. We have a text here from Joe regarding staff changes. I talked with Buddy a little bit about it. What are you hearing? Do you still think there are going to be some staff changes?
I was hearing, that Billy was pretty content with how things ended, and feels like confidence-wise that he didn't want to rock the boat. But then obviously Austin Armstrong leaves for Houston, right, or is reportedly on the way out. I'm sure you saw that Charlie Strong was visiting over the weekend, so maybe that makes sense somewhat in terms of like a veteran guy that, in terms of a guy that can coach linebackers, right? You're not going to find too many guys that are as experienced and as good at that resolved, and maybe he can mesh with Ron Roberts, and they could because I think it's pretty clear that Ron was calling the defense, and that was a big reason why Austin left. He wanted to go somewhere where he could. So you've got Charlie, there that could kind of come in as another veteran guy, similar to what Billy Gonzalez did, in coming back to Florida, and that's worked out really well for the receiver room. But we'll see what direction Billy wants to go there. I am going down to Tampa today, so I'm going to ask him about it. But other than that, I think he's pretty content. I still don't think he's going to hire an offensive coordinator. I know some people think he's going to, or he's been forced to, and I don't buy that. I think he's going to say, look what we did with DJ Lagway this year. We may as well, keep what we have going with myself and Russ Callaway and Dan Enos is the offensive analyst, and we'll see if I'm proven wrong there.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way you do. Shannon in Savannah, Georgia here wants to know, do you have any concerns that we have not signed anyone out of the transfer portal yet, other than a kicker?
They got the punter, right?
Yeah, punter, kicker, same thing, I guess.
No, I think it's, look, the portal is very fluid. You have till December 28th. So I would be concerned if, and even beyond that, right, before the start of the semester. So I would say let's check back in late December and see what Billy does. I trust his track record with offensive players more than defensive players. I'm sure I've told you that many times. Although some of the defensive guys this year worked out okay. Like George Gums was decent. Pup Howard, before he got hurt late in the season, was doing some good things. Caleb Banks and Cam Jackson, it took them a while to develop, but they're developing. But yeah, you would like to get, a nice big name or someone at receiver that's going to excite you, I think, to pair with DJ Lagway. I think the running back room is still pretty solid with Jaden Baugh coming back, and what Jacoby Jackson did, and Katie Daniels, a promising young freshman. But would be nice to get some receivers, maybe another tight end to replace Arla Sportingham too. But we'll see how that develops going forward.
Kevin, out of all the media guys for the last 2 years that have come on my program, I've yet to have one of them ask this question, and Andy just brought it up again. No one has ever asked Billy at a press conference why he has never once ran 4 wides, like 4 legitimate wide receivers on the field together. Do you want to ask him that question?
It's funny because I'm working on a story about, can the offense take a next step today? I'll ask him, or I'll ask Russ Callaway. I'll ask one of those two. We got Russ Callaway today, which is good.
So we've pretty much played 3 years of football under Billy Napier. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah, we got one more game, and then year 3 is over. We have never once lined up with 5 eligible receivers in a football game in today's modern day football. That just blows my mind.
Yeah, hey, it would be fun to watch, right?
Well, I'm just saying for
maybe they don't.
a change of pace. I know one of my favorite formations 11 personnel, 3 wides, 1 tight end. But there's a time and a place during every course of a game to go 4 wides or either 5 wides. We've never done it. So we'll see if Kevin Brockway gets the question asked.
I will. I'll try to ask it at some point this week.
Don't let them say we line up with four receivers. I'm talking about 4 guys that have their in the program that says wide receiver, like DK, Trey Wilson, Badger, Aiden Mizell. Those 4 guys on the field at the same time. That's 4 wides. That's what I want to know.
Okay. He seems wed to the heavy personnel, though, as you know, Shane.
No, I know, but in
like having 2 tight ends.
Here's the perfect time to do that. When you're trying to score with 2 minutes left, your 2-minute drill. Put your 4 fastest dudes on the field and let's go play football. Take the damn tight end and go put him on the sideline and let's go 4 wides. I just don't know why we've never done it. It makes no sense to me. Joseph says
he's a very conservative guy, as we know. Yeah.
Joseph says we go 5 wide every now and then with 3 tight ends. No, when we go empty, it's not 5 wides. It's called empty formation. But we're still in 11 personnel. We have 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back lined up as wide receiver. That is not 5 wides. That is empty. You're in 11 personnel and you're in an empty formation. So anyway, I had to get that off my chest. I do think Kevin will ask the question, though.
I will, Shane, for you. I will.
Don't tell him it was my question, though, Kevin. Make it sound like
I won't. I won't say. I won't serve it up. Yeah.
No. But look. You could be very observant here. You could say, Billy, you've been here or Russ, y'all have been here for 3 years. Y'all have never run one play with 4 eligible wide receivers. Don't let them say, yeah, we do. No, you don't. It's never happened. So anyway, I'm pulling your leg, but I've been asking Edgar. I've been asking multiple people to ask that question. Nobody's asked it. So hopefully it gets done. All right. Gators should roll right through the green wave in your opinion, or what?
Yeah, I have a feeling that, you saw that Ty Thompson is going to play. I guess he's the other guy in the transfer portal. So the backup is going to play. But still kind of like a lame duck quarterback. That's a little bit of a weird situation.
Very weird.
I know the running back is really good. And they play decent defense, but I watch them against Army too. And they have problems at kicker too, special teams. They're trending downward. I think Florida, and listen, I've heard some people say, well, maybe a little overconfident, but I think they showed at Florida State they could handle that, right? Because they went up there and they took care of business there. I'll be curious to see, and this might be another question that I'll ask Billy and maybe, wrinkle his feathers a little bit, but, remember he said the FSU game, there'll be consequences for, what happened after the game. Like, do you suspend George Gums for a half because of that? Because he planted the flag, or, what are the consequences going to be?
But I still think they have been taken care of.
Yeah, or what is it? It's like just run stadium steps and stuff. Is that what it is? Or
yeah,
I
would assume that's what it is. I would assume.
Yeah. Well, we'll ask Billy about it, but I think it's because like I said, I think that would be interesting if there were some guys that sat out that maybe you weren't expecting to sit out. But even then, I think Florida's they still have more than enough in this game, and they'll be motivated, and they'll be another nice showcase game for DJ Lagway. And, the main thing is you want him to get out of it healthy, but if he does, he'll get a chance. And I'd like to see it overall, though, let him let loose a little bit. He hasn't taken many pass attempts in some of these games. And I know Billy likes playing complimentary football, but this might be a nice game, especially where if he builds a lead to, let DJ Lagway sling it a little bit.
Yeah. Like I said, if he has 26 or more pass attempts, that means the Gators will be coming from behind. That's how they play football. Nothing wrong with it, but I firmly believe that even moving forward next year. Kevin, good stuff as always. We'll see you in the press box. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter and follow your stuff.
Yeah, at Gatorsports.com, at Gainesville.com, and Twitter at Kevin Brockway G1.
Appreciate your time, my friend. Take care.
All right, thank you, Shaner.
That's Kevin Brockway joins us on the Titan More Highline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. The best coffee and mango liqueurs are made by J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Find your flavor at stores across Florida and the Gator Nation, or stop by and taste the best at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. That's J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Hope y'all enjoyed today's program. See you tomorrow, folks. Take care.